Get ready, Staten Island.
The Ferry Hawks are back at SIUH Community Park July 7th to the 12th for a 6-game series against the High Point Rockers. Tonight, first pitch is at 6:30. It's Thirsty Thursday with $5 Bud and Bud Light Drafts. Friday, July 10th, first pitch is at 7 p.m. May the Force be with you on Star Wars Night with post-game kids glow around the bases with special lightsaber training packs.
Visit ferryhawks.com now to lock in your seats.
Aurelio Casillas está de regreso para una temporada final.
Ahora seré el dueño del mundo.
Y sus enemigos lo están esperando.
Acordate de mí, Casillas, cuando estés rezando, porque conmigo no hay cielo.
Yo decido cómo termina esto.
El Señor de los Cielos, de lunes a viernes a las 9:08 Centro, por Telemundo y Peacock.
Hoy vas a pagar con sangre, de esta no te escapas.
In the squadron, they called him Bullets, but we call him Greg Kelly. Greg Kelly is on the air
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
All right, Carlos, thank you very much. We're back here on the Greg Kelly Show. No, it's not Greg Kelly. It's James Flippin. We're continuing the news watch from 77 WABC because Greg had to step away. I think he needed a little more coffee and probably another orange or two because he's only got one orange on his desk right now, and he's always got to have a bunch of oranges. So, Mitch McConnell watch. What's up with Mitch McConnell? You know, this is the thing that I hear from people every time I talk about the need for term limits. There's some excuse why we can't have them. Whether it's, there's going to be lame duck senators or lame duck congressmen and women, and they're just going to do something crazy in the last 6 months of their term if they're term limited. Or you also hear this argument that, well, only the richest among us are going to be able to run for office if we have term limits, because it means that the idea of building to a career in politics is gone or something like that. You'll notice that in that whole discussion, the concept of the people, the represented, the voters, and whatever they want or benefit from, it's very, very secondary. It's always this hypothetical discussion of what the person that's going to be potentially running for office is going to go through or face. And I really resent that. I think that when you have somebody like a Dianne Feinstein, or in this case, Mitch McConnell, or whoever it may be, that's clinging to life while purporting to represent the people of the United States of America, it's really just making a mockery of the entire political system. So anyway, the expectation is maybe we'll learn something more about Mitch McConnell today. But we also know that his wife, Elaine Chao, has come back from China. Why did she go to China in the first place? I mean, how absolutely bizarre and just kind of twisted is it that while her husband is supposedly potentially on his deathbed, she takes some jet off to China? Just bizarre. And I know Greg's been talking a lot about this Graham Plattner thing in terms of his skepticism and the timing behind these allegations of sexual assault. Look, I think two things can be true at once. It's definitely possible that in this post-Me Too era, the playbook is sort of out. The way to take down men of a certain position and political position, or whatever, is to accuse them of sexual harassment, sexual assault. And there's varying degrees of success there, right? Like, I mean, President Trump just yesterday ordered by the court to pay the $5 million he owes to E. Jean Carroll. And yet that didn't stop him from getting reelected as president. You could say that Trump is sort of a unique case, and that's probably true. But in terms of the politics behind these allegations of sexual assault, most of the time, it's people that enjoy a certain level of privilege and power in whatever industry they might be in. You know, Harvey Weinstein was taken down as the Hollywood heavyweight. You had a guy like Les Moonves, the CBS TV executive who was accused. You've had people in politics, but really just more like civil service, right? Police, fire, whatever. Things of this Me Too nature, they may be kind of losing their steam. And I think that moment has largely passed in the political, cultural landscape. So is it really plausible that a Graham Plattner is being taken down purely for political reasons or whatever when he faces these allegations of sexual assault? I don't know. I think the one thing that anybody with a brain, anybody with a pulse would agree with is that the timing is suspicious. It's all very convenient that a guy like Plattner, who just secured the nomination a month ago, has it all kind of falling down around him, and he decides, okay, I'm going to step aside. But the warning signs were there with this guy. That's the part that you really can't divorce from the story. The weird Kik messages, this texting app Kik that he supposedly was on and talking to various people on, his half-naked selfies. Now, look, there's a lot of people in the world who have half-naked selfies. But if he's sending it out to so many people that it becomes public knowledge during his time that he's running for office, that's a little bit bizarre. You also had the, let's not bury the lead here, Nazi chest tattoo. And I saw this video yesterday. Actually, I wonder if Greg had pulled this for his cuts. There was this video yesterday of these two people, a man and a woman, I think they might be a couple, being interviewed by a news outlet in Maine. And this interviewer was asking them, what did you know or not know about Graham Plattner, and what did you do to vet him? Because clearly every politician or somebody who's going to get into the political game needs to be vetted. You get put through a stress test. How much dirt is there on this particular person? What's going to happen when we start turning some rocks over and picking up logs and looking into this person's backstory? Is it going to be ugly? Is it going to be kind of okay, not so bad, whatever? So they vetted this guy Plattner, and the individual was saying, yeah, well, we did some research. We did hire a firm to do some research, and yeah, they came back with some things, but we didn't really think it was going to be a problem. Oh, we have that audio? Carlos, cut whatever this is, if you don't mind,
At this point, you hadn't vetted Graham Plattner. You hadn't done a full scrub of who he is. How did you go about vetting him? And why did you?
We paid a nice firm a whole chunk of money and got some stuff back. Some of what you've seen on the news we got back.
Such a
other stuff we didn't.
Did the vetting process turn up the tattoo that became so controversial?
That's a good question.
No.
The Reddit posts, did that turn up in the vetting process?
The firm sent us a thing, and it had some of the posts, but it didn't have all of them.
What? And what did you think about that? How did you think your way through the fact that he had
I don't think they were doing a lot of thinking
on social media?
I said none of this will or should stop him from becoming a U.S. Senator.
And what was your thinking?
Why is she laughing? What's so funny about that?
If what the voters wanted were people who were grown in vats and had never done or said anything that they might regret their entire lives.
Carlos, please, if you don't mind stopping this. Yeah, that's exactly right. I remember watching this clip and thinking to myself, that is not a skilled political mind. That is not someone who is going to engineer an effective campaign from either side. Because it's a clear lack of understanding of what it is that makes a populist candidate move, right? Like what makes a candidate that's popular, that connects with the people, that their story resonates with them, that they can be understood. What is that? What is it? Is it just that someone has a weird, creepy backstory and, you know, you can kind of say, oh, that person's flawed and they're not perfect? Yeah, they've got a few chips in the armor there, but that's okay. We're getting behind our everyman. And they desperately, desperately need the concept of an everyman in the Democratic Party. There is no question about it that anybody with an ounce of masculinity can't stand the political left. Because at its core, a lot of its culture is about blunting masculinity and telling men that they're bad and telling men that their internal desires to provide and protect are wrong and all this kind of stuff. So if you can get a guy like Graham Plattner with his Yosemite Sam mustache and his gravelly face and his doughy body and his tattoos to a leftist in Portland, Maine, now that's America, baby. That's a white guy. And this is the white guy that we're going to put forward and win the day. Because they clearly failed with Tim Walz and his strings and strands of bald hair and his fat head. And he's up there saying, oh, well, all of this is very problematic. And men need to be a little more sensitive. And no one likes that. They rejected that. Tim Walz was totally tossed onto the dustbin of history and probably should be in jail anyway for the allegations of fraud. But the Graham Plattner thing was supposed to be, well, this is a man's man. He's on the Downeaster Alexa getting some oyster out of the Bay of Portland. And isn't this just so amazing? This guy, Graham Plattner, is going to be the future of the Democratic Party. So it didn't really matter whether or not he had done things that were bad or amoral or potentially even criminal, because they so desperately need somebody who touches on that masculinity. And what's also kind of sad and sick is that that's not what masculinity is all about. I mean, it's the opposite of it, really. You know, people who on the left want to talk about things like toxic masculinity, they're basically talking about Graham Plattner, a guy who cheated on his wife, a guy who was a womanizer, allegedly, a guy who went into his girlfriend's house late at night when he was drunk and said, I'm just going to take this now. That is the opposite of being a man. That is the opposite of being a masculine man, who's someone who wants to protect women, someone who wants to provide for his family and worry about that unit, not his unit, if that makes any sense. So anyway, I've got Mr. Drosh coming in here. Oh, yes, of course. The phone lines are now open. 1-800-848-9222. 1-800-848-9222. This is another story that... Oh, and John, thank you very much. This is another story that is just absolutely terrible. This woman who's from Westchester County, I believe, definitely from New York. I think she's from Westchester County. Jamie Carney. This is a story you're going to start to hear about more. This woman moved to Ireland with her daughter 5 years ago. And the news reports are saying that she so fell in love with Ireland, the Emerald Isle, that she had to move there, had to live there. Packed her bags, went to Ireland, has been living there ever since. Well, she died this week, beaten to death. Her own daughter, her 13-year-old daughter, found her buried under blankets and beaten to death. And it turns out that the prime suspect in this murder is the woman's boyfriend. Also turns out that this boyfriend is a migrant of Middle Eastern descent who was living in asylum seeker housing there in Ireland. So whatever it was that happened between the two of them, this guy accused of beating up his girlfriend, leaving her for dead, and he flees the country. He is potentially somewhere in Turkey or somewhere else in the Middle East. And drawing the string together a little bit further, we find out that this woman was a outspoken critic of Israel, big-time pro-Palestine, all about the open borders, would go to different events and rallies, was converting to Islam. I mean, if it sounds heavy-handed, it should. Because it's the kind of thing that like Fox News would make up in a news lab somewhere. But supposedly it's true. And now this woman's dead, and her 13-year-old daughter has no mom, and she lives in a strange foreign land. And some guy that was in asylum seeker housing is the prime suspect in her murder. How many more of these stories are we going to go through before the entire world just kind of explodes? I mean, I don't really know what people expect is going to happen here, especially considering the fact that it's repeatedly in Ireland or England, and the UK has done nothing short of rolling out the red carpet for all these different migrants, to the point where there was another member of parliament who was on a podcast, I think it might have been Joe Rogan, where he was saying that if you're an illegal migrant in the UK, you show up, you get put to the top for free dental care. You get put right to the top. All right, we're going to step aside for a second. 1-800-848-9222. I'm James Flippin, sitting in here on The Greg Kelly Show. If you want to join us, that's the number. 1-800-848-9222. Heaven's very good, Carlos.
Greg Kelly
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Hey, it's James Flippin in for Greg Kelly, and I'm looking at this map of New York City's immigrant enclaves, according to Mayor Zohran Mamdani. And, you know, the crazy thing is, according to him, there is no Little Italy in Manhattan, and there's no Irish neighborhoods either. Huh. Let's check in on the phones. 1-800-848-9222. Kay is in Manhattan. What's up, Kay?
I think that the militant Islamists are the biggest threat to Western culture, Europe and the United States. And the difference now is they're not flying planes. They're in our political system. And they are using our freedoms and our democracies to bring the ideals and what this country stands for, and they're bringing it down. And as Stalin said, they have their useful idiots.
Yeah.
And they use this term occupied lands. We stole this land from the Native Americans, Indians, whatever you want to say. Mm. Well, don't they say the same thing about Israel? So is that their justification to use against us? Because that's what they tell us about Israel.
Yeah.
They tell us Israel is on occupied land.
You're right, Kay. Absolutely true. I mean, and thanks for the call. It's a common refrain among the political left, let's say, that there's ill-begotten gains, that it's stolen land, that an Elon Musk doesn't deserve that. He didn't accomplish all that. Wasn't that what Barack Obama said? If you have a business, you didn't build that business. And it's trying to remove the agency of the individual in favor of the state. It is communist, and it does go hand in hand with Islam, unfortunately, and that's how they're getting their means across. I'm James Flippin in on The Greg Kelly Show.
Greg Kelly, entertaining and informative
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
We'll be giving this out so you can read it and you can see. And it's a memorandum of understanding. If it doesn't get done in 60 days, it's all right. We go back to bombing. You know, I don't want to do that because it's so good. But we might have to, because we're never going to let them have a nuclear weapon.
Makes total sense to me. That was back in June. All right, we went back to bombing. Get it together. We got a huge military. They'd either be training or bombing. I'm okay with this. You know how much money we each spend? We each spend a couple of $1,000 on this military, whether it's fighting or not. Hey, I'm back. Ooh, I was feeling a little bit queasy there. I think I'm back to normal. Thank you, James Flippin. There could be possibly a side effect. It happens not very often, but I'm on the GLP, you know, one of those shots, the fat shot. I'm on the fat shot. And like once every 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, I feel intense nausea. It usually goes in about a half hour or so. And I think I've just about kicked it. Just about. I'm a little bit, no, actually, I think it is over right about now. And, well, good to be with you. It's very, very dark. One of those dark summer rainy moments. Dark clouds in New York City. I was in Florida not too long ago. Man, I've never seen clouds during the day that dark, that black. It's kind of cool. It makes me want to go to the movies. Of course, I have no idea what's playing, and I have no idea where the movie theaters are anymore. Kind of stinks. All right, so there is, are we bombing? We're bombing, and it's a totally necessary thing. It's too bad Iran is so crazy, so loco, President Trump said. Cut 6.
The fake news likes to say how well they're doing. They're doing terribly. They have 350% inflation. When the war started, they had like 6%, 5%. They want to make a deal, but they don't know how to make a deal, and then they go around shooting ships at night. I don't like that. You know, they're dealing with very fine people. They're dealing with Steve Witkoff. They're dealing with Jared Kushner and J.D. Vance, and they're dealing with Marco and Scott. They're dealing with great people, but I don't know. I think they're a little loco. They're a little crazy.
A little loco, a little bit crazy, and they are. Iran, go figure. There was a guy on TV last night saying, "Oh, America has played. You know, America doesn't understand. The Iranians only understand this, and if you tell them that, they're going to think this." And like, you know, I can't get wrapped around the axle about Iran's customs and culture. You know, we have a certain way of doing business here. We sit down at the table. Sometimes we do it, hopefully in good faith, not always. And you know, you read the room best you can. I don't want to learn this weird, opaque language of Iran, right? I'm not talking about Farsi. I'm talking about their crazy culture and customs. The same people that can justify marrying a 9-year-old girl, right? I don't want to get inside their heads and figure out what the hell is going to be amenable to them. So don't lecture us about how to talk to the Iranians. This guy was like, oh, Iranians are so brokenhearted because President Trump and J.D. Vance of what we've been saying about the negotiations. Like, oh, some of them seem to be reasonable. He said that a couple of days ago before this. Oh, that really broke the heart of the Iranians. I think they got their mind on other things. Maybe 350%, right? Iran can say whatever it wants. It doesn't break my heart. All right? If it breaks their heart, what we're saying, well, they got to toughen up over there, don't you think? There's one or two others I wanted to go through, if you don't mind. Cut 3, please. Cut 3.
Your markets are up today around about 7% for WTI and Brent as well. The world is taking you at your word, sir, that the MOU is over, that the ceasefire is over. What happens next, sir? Are we on the cusp of a full-scale return to full conflict?
Well, I'll tell you what happens next. We're never going to see Iran have a nuclear weapon because that's much more important than the numbers you're talking about. The prices of oil are dropping like a rock. Now they'll be up a little bit, and this will end very quickly. We have an oil glut right now because we got all those boats out of the strait, and it's going to drop, and I've predicted everything. I've been right about everything, and I have been for a long time. That's how I got to be president 3 times.
3 times. You get it? 2020. I still have my doubts about that, and it's okay. I remember once, if you talked about that out loud, you'd be worried that the FBI would show up. Right? That's how crazy it was. That's how, hey, what's going on over there? You know, I'm watching on social media. They hit me all the time with these crime cases I never heard of. And they're absolutely spellbinding. A lot has gone down in America. Okay. We got a bit of a crazy country. And just, you know, you find yourself, you got to be careful with this social media. I'm reading about Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins is telling me to take charge of my life and, you know, not do this and not do that. I read him all the way back in the 1980s. He's onto a lot of good stuff. You know, there's so much crap we put in our minds. TV shows, junk social media. You know, he talks about intentionality. He talks about not majoring in minor things. That's something I remember back from the 80s. Because I don't want to happen to me tomorrow what happened to me last night. Finding some stupid story. I mean, it's fascinating, but it's stupid at the same time. A woman in Boynton Beach, Florida, marries a guy, starts stealing his money, and then turns around and hires a hitman to kill him. The hitman, though, that she tries to hire tells the police. So it's all a big sting operation. Her name is Dalia Dippolito, and she is still in jail. And it's all on camera. You know, it's really wild. Wow. Yeah, I just want, when can you kill him? You know, when's that going to go down? Okay, Wednesday? All right. Okay. Yeah, and I'll make it look like a crime. I mean, man, she's just guilty as hell. She's gotten 3 new trials. 3 new trials. You know who needs a new trial? You know who needs to have a verdict thrown out? President Trump and this E. Jean Carroll. That criminal is getting $5 million if she hasn't gotten it already. Did that thing actually go through? Judge Lewis Kaplan, I would love to know where that guy is. I got to go. Maybe I'll just go to his office and protest my ass off down there. That corrupt judge allowed that case to go forward. She should have been barred from the courtroom. A woman who can't even tell you when she was assaulted. I think it's impossible to defend yourself against an allegation like that. That's why it's also impossible for Graham Plattner to defend himself. I feel sorry for the guy. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. What is it, Sal? Hello.
And I would like to bring up 2 points. The first one is when Jamila Jayapal was interviewing that poor woman, the mother of Sheridan Gordon, and she was crying her eyes out. She said all the pain that she was going through from losing her daughter. And then Jamila Jayapal said, well, I feel your pain. I'm sorry for you, but we are a nation of immigrants, something to that effect. So that goes to show you that how horrible these Democrats are, the way they're more for these illegal murderers than they are for the law-abiding good American citizens.
Yeah. What else?
The second point I want to make is when people say, when they say about when they refer to the West Bank, it's not the West Bank. It's Judea and Samaria, because that's the actual part of Israel.
All right, but I mean nobody says that.
But that's the real. That's
I know, but nobody says that.
That's the part of Israel that Jesus.
I don't even think they say. I know, but all right. And when you're reading the Bible, I mean, just in the news, you know, it's called the West Bank. I can't go around to every newsroom. I mean, I even call it the West Bank. I control what I can control. I can't get, you know what I mean? But, you know, all right, good points. Yeah, you should call it the other thing, but I don't even know what that thing. I can't do that. Sal, I like it. You're on top of it, man. And when something sets you off, you pick up the phone. Appreciate it, pal. Mike in New Jersey. Hello. Is he there? Hold on a second. What? No, the one at the top who wants to say something about Graham Plattner. Yeah, what is it?
Hi, Greg. I was listening to that interview that CNN did.
Oh, yeah, you're a cop. I mean, right? That was all vague and weird, right?
You hit it right on the head, though, once again. You said, why don't you let her tell her story, and then you ask her questions such as, did you have a cell phone in the house? You noticed he was highly intoxicated. You know, did you have neighbors that you could have yelled to? You know, there's a lot of questions that should have been asked. And I'm not saying I like Graham Plattner. I think he's a jerk. But the reality is, any guy can get accused of this. And you said it really well. If you have a son, cousins, nephews, nieces. I'm sorry, I said nieces.
Brothers, fathers, you name it. I mean, yes, men are vulnerable. More vulnerable than ever before, because this thing has gotten like it's renewed again. Look at the power you have. Look, they tied up the president of the United States. They dragged him into court for crying out loud. E. Jean Carroll, that nut job. What a disgrace. So, yeah, nobody knows how to interview. You know why, Mike? Everyone's tiptoeing around. You know, no one will. They can't call out the crap. They're afraid. They don't want the finger to be pointed at them. You know, nobody wants to use their common sense either. Yeah, all right, and you're a detective, right? If you were a cop, you know, that would be a rookie move on Jake's part, right? If Jake were a cop, what would the senior cop say? Hey, shut up. Let's listen to her, right?
Jake was a cop. He would have been out doing parking tickets 15 minutes after watching that interview. He's an absolute clown. When you really do, you know, I really think this is all set up. I think these people meet with lawyers beforehand. meaning the interviewer as well as the alleged victim. And they're spinning this yarn. E. Jean Carroll, I mean, my God, that was civil court. In no way could that be done in a criminal court, what she did to our president. Absolutely disgraceful.
I don't think that was in criminal court, by the way. I don't think that was criminal court. Yeah, no, because it was a libel situation. Remember? Yeah, no. But, hey, man, I love it. I love it. Seasoned detective here, seasoned professional. Hey, when we can, I'd like to dip back into Utah and the preliminary hearing when we can, okay, if that is going to go on. Thank you, sir, very much. Let's try Martin. Martin. Hey, whatever happened to Martin Lawrence? Remember that guy? He was big.
Hello there.
Hi.
Hello, Greg.
Yeah, hi.
Hey, man. So I was listening to you earlier, and I agree with you that this person, this accuser, sounds as though she's been coached to talk about this. And you know, the funny thing is that there was a Republican, Fiffield, I believe is her name. Fiffield, she accused Plattner, and they just said it's political. I think what's happened is it's another hit job. They did it to Biden. It's another hit job on a guy they want to get out of there because they're afraid he's going to lose. And so they get a Democrat girl come out now and accuse him, and now it means something. She's Democrat, and it means something to them. And it's just another switcheroo they're pulling here.
Yeah, but what she said was worse than what the Republicans said. This is more serious. And remember with Joe Biden, I mean, we all saw him choke during that debate, right? We were watching him choke for 4 years. So it's a little bit different there. Then again, Tara Reid, the stuff that she alleged about Joe Biden was 10 times worse than what this girl is saying. Very strange. It's just so nice to be able to talk about the truth. You know what I mean? Where everybody else is hung up and they got to go through these stupid, silly, fake dances that they don't even understand. I'm going to do one more. Michelle is standing by. Yeah, hi, Michelle.
So I've been on a GLP-1 myself since March of 2024, and when that nausea hits, I take some Dramamine and it clears it right up. Sometimes I do it like the day after I give myself the shot, and it works like a charm. You can take Dramamine for any kind of nausea.
Yeah, we have the anti-nausea. I just never have the anti-nausea, within reach. I don't know where the hell it is. I remember the big deal we made about getting it from the pharmacy. We got special. The doctor gave me special, and I have no idea where the hell it is. My wife is actually traveling right now, and I am a mess. All right, I am a mess without her. All right, she's just she runs a very tight household. And I have pills for this. I got this, and I got, just a regimen. And when she goes, I fall big time. But I'll get straightened out. Thank you. Oh, we got one more. Mary is calling from Connecticut. Yeah.
Hi, Greg. So Graham Plattner's a dirtbag. Any Democrat that would vote for him is out of their mind. Anybody that would vote for a Democrat is out of their mind. And we have to believe all women. And this is a pattern of behavior.
Wait a second. No, wait. Whoa. Did you just say we have to believe all women? I mean, are you serious?
This is a pattern of behavior.
No. You just said we have to believe all women. Are you crazy? And look, I'll tell you what. I don't think all Democrats are out of their mind. I think many of them have been lied to. I think many of them are. But no, I don't think they're out of their mind. I don't. I mean, there's a lot of fake news. There's also a lot of indoctrination that's been done. If certain different things had happened to you, Mary, you could be a Democrat. I don't think they're out of their mind. I do think you got to be in a really weird state to say that children should be sexualized. But Mary, I can't believe it. You called in before. You're a believe all women type. You're a believe all women type. You could say the same thing. Oh, President Trump, there's been this is a pattern of behavior. Oh, it's a pattern. It's a pattern. Maybe it's a pattern of fake news allegations. That could be too. But just going forward, so I know when your name pops up here on my little thingamajig, you're a believe all women? Is that what you say? Believe all women. Huh. All Are women morally superior or just better, more integrity than men? What about that Dahlia Dippolito I was just telling you about?
Greg, in this case, we need to believe her.
You know what? No, well, you listen to her. We got to believe her. What? She's tiptoeing through she's all over the place. She's not even saying anything half the time. We don't have to believe her. I'm not going to believe her. You have a son? You have a son, Mary?
I do.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know what? Ask him how he feels about this. Sit him down in front of the Jake Tapper show and let him watch 20 minutes of that. All right? I want to know if he believes her. All right, Mary, thanks for checking in. Believe all women. Come on. All right, you're better than that. We'll be right back.
Greg Kelly, entertaining and informative
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Who the hell is this? Somebody wants to let me know that Turkey did not let us enter through north in Iraq war, costing many American troop lives. Turkey rejects U.S. troop deployment. No, I don't think that's the case, actually. The 4th Infantry Division came from the north. Ultimately, they did come from the north. Hey, guess what? Iraq was a bogus war. Maybe they knew it. Maybe they knew it in their bones. I don't blame them. They don't want to take on the gosh damn neighbor right next door. You're gonna hold this grudge? President Trump has a good working relationship with Erdogan. That's okay with me. Turkey is an ally. We have all kinds of airplanes taking off in and out. I'm gonna give a damn about what they did in 2003. And by the way, when those troops actually did get there, the 4th Infantry Division that came in from the north, and I was with some of those guys, it was really interesting. You see, they missed the cool part of the war, the invasion, right? So I'm talking about the American side. So they missed the invasion, but they get there and they're like, well, we want to have a war. You know what I mean? We want to have some fun here. And they were pushing and shoving all these Iraqi guys around. I'm like, you guys are being way too hard on these dudes. You're being way too hard on them. And they were. They were. I remember they would just anybody who was a military age, they'd round them up and blindfold them and put them in handcuffs. It was very, very, we were creating enemies. Do me a favor. Can we dip into Provo, Utah, the courtroom? This Tyler Robinson preliminary hearing, the alleged assassin of Charlie Kirk, looks like an open and shut case. I just heard from Donald Trump Jr. He was there for a couple of days of testimony. Pump up the volume if you don't mind.
Does he identify whether Mr. Robinson is part of that thread?
He does.
And when did that happen?
He identifies that in his first interview with the 2 FBI agents, and then he again confirms that in his second interview.
Did Mr. Twiggs say what username on Discord Mr. Robinson used, at least with respect to this thread?
Yes, it's the Tyler/Ikum, IKUM.
And is Exhibit 16.2 a fair and accurate representation of that Discord thread?
Yes, it is.
Did law enforcement send, as part of your investigation, did law enforcement send a subpoena to Discord?
Yes, they did.
Stop. Twiggs is the boyfriend of Tyler Robinson, into furries and trans, right? And Tyler confessed to the boyfriend. Keep going. Oh, we're done. It's text messages galore. Oh, and you know what they said? Oh, let's be sure to delete these text messages. Did you kill Charlie? Yes, I did. I had to. Somebody had to stop him. Oh, my gosh. You shouldn't have done it. I know, my love, but I had to. Somebody had to do it. Let's be sure to delete these text messages. You can't delete them. You can't delete them. They're around forever. Remember that. Some of the dumbest criminals don't seem to know that. Nothing can be deleted.
Thanks for listening to The Greg Kelly Show. You can hear The Greg Kelly Show weekdays at 12:15 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?
Anyone can sell electronics. At Electronics Expo, they do more than sell products. They design, install, and support complete technology solutions. From home theaters and whole home audio to lighting, shades, automation, networking, security cameras, and premium entertainment systems. For over 22 years, they've helped thousands of homeowners experience technology at its very best. See the difference for yourself. Visit their Wayne or Paramus stores in New Jersey or shop now at electronicsexpo.com.